Part 1. The Echoes of Etheria. In the twilight haze of Etheria, where the crimson sun kissed the jagged peaks of the Mistweaver Mountains, a lone figure tread the forgotten trails of an ancient world. Elara Erenwyn, a daughter of the once great house of Ithralor, moved with the grace of a whisper, her elven heritage evident in her fluid stride and luminous gaze. Her path was set towards the shadowed ruins of Eldergrove, a place long forsaken by sanity and shrouded in the veil of curses. Etheria was a land suspended on the precipice of war, an echo of its glorious past now fragmented into warring factions. The dominion of Volkthor, with its obsidian spires and relentless armies, threatened to engulf all in its tyrannical maw. The free cities of Valoria, though fractured, resisted with fervent defiance. Yet it was not steel and strategy that could change the course of fate, but the ancient magic sleeping beneath the Eldergrove ruins, the Everchant Relic, whispered to be the key to reshaping reality itself. Elara's journey was perilous. Her companion, a stoic warrior named Gareth Thorn, was a knight from the fallen northern kingdoms. Gareth, clad in the remnants of silver and blue, bore the scars of a hero's past and the burdens of a lost cause. Together, their fates were intertwined by the echoes of a prophecy etched in the stars and the blazing remnants of their world's history. As they neared the edge of the ruins, the air crackled with an energy born of ages. Vines, thick and sinewy, clung to the moss-covered stones, like the clutch of forgotten time. The ruins rose before them, not as a memory, but as a living entity, whispering secrets and beckoning with the allure of untold power. "Do you feel it?" Elara's voice was a soft melody against the backdrop of rustling leaves. Gareth nodded, his hand instinctively tightening around the hilt of his broad blade. "It's as if the stones themselves are breathing," he replied, eyes scanning for unseen threats. The entrance to Eldergrove yawned like the maw of a great beast, its archway adorned with carvings of mythical beasts and celestial patterns. As they stepped forward, the ground trembled, and the air thickened into a miasma of foreboding. Their journey had begun, and with it, the unraveling of destiny's tapestry. The corridor stretched endlessly, each step echoing with the whispers of long-dead sorcerers and kings. Light from Gareth's lantern cast flickering shadows across the walls, revealing murals that danced with life, depicting a time when magic and mortal walked as one. "Do you think we can truly find it?" Gareth's question hung in the air, burdened with doubt and hope. Elara paused, her hand brushing against the stone, feeling the pulse of magic resonate through her fingertips. The Everchant Relic is not just a myth. It's the heart of Etheria. If we find it, we can change everything. Their passage through the ruins was fraught with traps and illusions. Symbols on the floor glowed with arcane energy, and spectral figures writhed within the stone. They navigated through chambers of ornate relics and halls of spectral guardians, their path a labyrinth designed to deter all but the most determined. In one chamber, the walls shimmered with a spectral tableau recounting the epochs of Etheria, the rise and fall of empires, the clash of titans, and the sealing of the relic itself by the legendary mage Alaron the Wise. It was here that Elara and Gareth encountered their first formidable trial. A guardian materialized, a shimmering specter clad in ancient armor. Its eyes, hollow voids of blue flame, locked onto them, issuing a challenge through silent accusation. With a gesture, it summoned a torrent of arcane winds, the embodiment of the magic it once wielded in life. Gareth raised his sword, the steel igniting with a runic glow as he invoked the power imbued by the northern druids. He leapt into a duel of dazzling light and shadow, steel clashing against ethereal essence. Beside him, Alara wove spells with precision, tendrils of verdant magic snaring the specter's limbs, binding it in place. The battle danced on the edge of oblivion, the air thick with the scent of ozone and the tang of sweat. With a final desperate surge, Gareth drove his blade through the specter's core, shattering its form into a cascade of light. Breathing heavily, they pressed on, the shadows now their allies rather than adversaries. The relic was close, its siren song undeniable beneath the groans of the ancient structure. But as they approached the heart of Eldergrove, an unexpected presence awaited them. A woman, clad in dark robes that flowed like liquid night, stood before the altar where the Everchant Relic lay dormant. Her eyes, deep wells of darkness, watched with an ancient hunger. Alara Erenwen, she spoke, her voice like silk and venom. "I've waited long for you." Alara's heart skipped, recognizing the woman as Nerissa, the Black Seeress, a sorceress believed to have perished centuries ago, now a pawn of the Dominion, serving its master in shadows. Her presence was a revelation, an omen that the stakes were higher and more dangerous than they imagined. "You seek the relic, but its power is not for you," Nerissa intoned, raising a hand to summon tendrils of shadow, which writhed and lashed like serpents. The ensuing confrontation was a symphony of chaos, magic clashing with raw force. Alara and Gareth fought with the desperation of those who knew they carried the weight of worlds upon their shoulders. The chamber echoed with the cries of the ether, the magic of Aetheria awakening in response to their struggle. In that moment of fervent conflict, as light and shadow wrestled for dominance, Alara realized the truth hidden beneath the veil of prophecy. The Everchant Relic was not merely a tool, but a conscious entity, aware and waiting for one deemed worthy to awaken it. With a burst of resolve, Alara reached for the relic, her hand closing around its crystalline form. The chamber flooded with blinding luminescence, the brilliance of 1,000 suns converging. Time seemed to halt, and in that pause, she felt the relic's essence entwine with her own, a bond forged in magic and fate. The blast of power shattered Nerissa's conjurations, sending the sorceress sprawling into the shadows from whence she came. The ruin shuddered, the echoes of its age-old magic trembling at the awakening of the relic. As the light subsided, Alara stood transformed, her aura aglow with the relic's power, her resolve steeled with newfound purpose. Gareth, steady at her side, placed a hand on her shoulder, his expression one of awe and unwavering loyalty. "Now, we fight not just for survival, but for the rebirth of a world," Alara declared, her voice carrying the weight of destiny reborn. Their quest had only just begun, and the path before them was fraught with peril, betrayal, and the promise of redemption. Yet with each step, they would carve a new legacy, one that would reshape the tapestry of Aetheria itself. For in the echoes of the past lay the foundation of tomorrow, and they were its architects. Art 2. The Tempest of Shadows. The morning broke across the Mistweaver Mountains in hues of fire and gold, the remnants of night dissolving into the promise of a new dawn. Alara and Gareth emerged from Eldergrove ruins, the air around them vibrant with the untamed magic coursing through Alara. Her bond with the Everchant Relic had awakened a power she could scarcely comprehend, and with it, a burden of responsibility that weighed heavily upon her heart. At the edge of the forest, where the ancient trees stood like silent sentinels, they paused to catch their breath and orient themselves. The serene beauty of the landscape belied the turmoil brewing across Etheria. the land caught between the intricate dance of light and shadow. "We must reach Farland before the Dominion's spies catch wind of the relic's awakening," Gareth said, scanning the horizon. His eyes, sharp and unwavering, sought the safest path to the free cities. Where allies still held the line against the creeping darkness, Alara nodded, determination etched into her every feature. The Council of Elders must be warned. The Dominion will stop at nothing now. Their journey was fraught with hidden peril, the shadow of Nerissa's defeat, a lingering specter that promised retribution. As they traversed the rolling hills and sweeping valleys, the world around them seemed to hold its breath, as if anticipation lay thick upon the wind. On the second day, when the sun reached its zenith, a storm gathered. Dark clouds rolled across the sky with an unnatural speed, casting an ominous pall over the land. Lightning tore through the heavens, and the air crackled with malevolent energy. "We must find shelter," Gareth called over the rising gale, his voice firm, even as the tempest threatened to swallow them whole. Yet, before they could seek refuge, the ground beneath them trembled, and a fissure appeared. Tearing across the earth with a deep, resonating groan, from the chasm emerged creatures of shadow and stone, twisted remnants of a bygone age, awakened by the storm's fury. Alara's heart pounded in her chest as the creatures advanced, their eyes glowing with a cold, unyielding malice. There was no time to think, only to act. With a surge of will, she channeled the relic's power, feeling its warmth flood her being. A barrier of shimmering light erupted from her outstretched hands, encircling them in a protective cocoon. The creatures howled in frustration, hurling themselves against the barrier with relentless ferocity. Gareth moved like a storm incarnate, his sword singing through the air as he struck with precision and strength. Each blow resonated with the runic power of the northern druids, and the creatures fell before him like wheat to the scythe. The battle was fierce, and their enemies seemed endless, a tide of darkness seeking to overwhelm them. Alara, the relic's energy coursing through her, felt its consciousness guiding her, showing her glimpses of Etheria's past and its myriad futures. "Hold fast!" she cried, her voice rising above the storm's roar. As if in response, the relic's light intensified, flaring outwards in a blinding wave that swept across the battlefield. The creatures dissolved into shadows, banished back to the depths from which they came. The ground settled, and the storm's fury dissipated, leaving behind a world newly washed and eerily quiet. Breathing heavily, Alara and Gareth surveyed the aftermath. The land bore the scars of their struggle, yet the air felt lighter, cleansed of the malevolence that had tainted it. "We can't keep fighting like this," Gareth said, turning to Alara. His expression was grim, yet resolute. "The relic's power is vast, but it won't protect us forever." Alara nodded, her own resolve hardening. "We need allies. The heralds of the wind, perhaps. They commanded the skies in the age of legends." The journey to Farland resumed, each step bringing them closer to the heart of the free cities. Along the way, they encountered travelers and refugees, stories of conflict and hope woven into the fabric of their lives. Some spoke of the rise of dragonkind, ancient beasts slumbering beneath the world's roots, now awakening to the call of the Everchant Relic. In the bustling city of Farland, where the spires of the free cities pierced the sky like the blades of forgotten gods, Alara and Gareth sought audience with the Council of Elders. The council chamber was a grand hall, its walls adorned with the banners of ages past, the air thick with the scent of incense and the weight of decisions. Elder Sildor, a venerable elf with hair like woven silver, regarded them with eyes as sharp as a hawk's. You bring news that stirs the winds of fate, he intoned, his voice a blend of wisdom and caution. Ilara stepped forward, her heart beating in time with the relic's pulse. The Everchant Relic is awakened, and with it, a power to heal or destroy. The Dominion seeks it, led by dark forces that threaten all we hold dear. The council murmured among themselves, their deliberations swift yet measured. Finally Elder Sildor nodded, his expression grave. The heralds of the wind were more than legend. Their kin still walk among us, hidden in the crags of Wyvern's Reach. Seek them, and perhaps they will aid our cause. Their quest took a new course, the path to Wyvern's Reach treacherous and steep. As they departed Farland, the sky overhead was clear, yet Ilara felt the weight of destiny pressing upon them. Unbeknownst to them, Nerissa stalked their steps, her presence cloaked in shadows. She had tasted the relic's power and would stop at nothing to claim it for her master. The shadows deepened as she wove her dark web, the tendrils of her machinations spreading across Ethria like a stain. As Ilara and Gareth journeyed towards Wyvern's Reach, the land before them unfolded with promise and peril. Ancient forests whispered secrets in the language of leaves, and the mountains loomed like slumbering giants, their peaks kissed by the eternal snows. In the shadow of the great peaks, the echoes of prophecy rang clear and true, guiding them towards the heart of their destiny. For within the embrace of Wyvern's Reach lay the next chapter of their tale, a chapter of dragonfire and revelation, of bonds unbreakable and truths yet untold. Part 3. The Awakening of Wyvern's Reach. The rugged path to Wyvern's Reach was a tapestry of frost and verdant beauty, where the bones of ancient mountains kissed the sky with their jagged fingers. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and the distant promise of snow, while the wind whispered through the crags, with a voice both mournful and wise. Ilara and Gareth pressed onward, their breath misting in the chill morning air. The map they carried, a relic in its own right, crafted from the scales of the elder drakes, guided them through the treacherous passes. It was said that the dragons of old had gifted these maps to the heralds of the wind, those chosen few who could commune with dragonkind and wield the sky as their dominion. As they climbed higher, the world unfolded beneath them, a sea of clouds stretching to the horizon, pierced by the peaks of the mistweavers like islands adrift in ethereal mist. It was a place where legends took flight, where the very fabric of reality seemed thinner, more malleable to the whims of fate. Their destination lay at the apex of Wyvern's Reach, where the last of the heralds were said to dwell. The journey was arduous, each step a testament to their endurance and resolve. The path was fraught with hidden dangers, icy precipices and sudden winds that threatened to cast them into the abyss. On the third day, as the sun hung low in the sky, they encountered an unexpected ally. At the edge of the path, where the mountain gave way to a sheer drop, stood a figure cloaked in azure, the color of the sky at dusk. His eyes were sharp, glinting with the wisdom of ages, and his hair, white as winter's first breath, framed a visage both ancient and ageless. "I am Phalor, last of the wind callers," he announced, his voice carrying the weight of thunder and the grace of a breeze. "The mountains have spoken of your coming." Ilara inclined her head in respect, recognizing the power that resonated from him. "We seek the heralds," she replied. The relic has awoken, and with it a storm of shadows. Thalor nodded, his gaze appraising. The heralds stand ready. But first, you must prove your worth. The dragons stir beneath the mountain, their dreams entwined with the fate of Etheria. They are the keepers of the sky's secrets, and their blessing is not given lightly. He led them through a hidden path, winding deeper into the mountain's embrace. The air grew warm, tinged with the scent of sulfur and flame, as they descended into the caverns where ancient fires slumbered, and the echoes of dragons thrummed like a heartbeat. The cavern was vast, its ceiling lost in shadow, the walls alive with the shimmer of gems and veins of precious metals. In the center, a great stone dais rose from the ground, encircled by runes that glowed with an inner light. It was here that the dragons gathered, their forms immense and majestic, scales glistening like liquid gold and burnished copper. Ilara's breath caught in her throat as she gazed upon them, the embodiment of power and grace. Their eyes, deep pools of antiquity, regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and challenge. "Speak your purpose," one of the dragons rumbled, its voice resonating through the cavern like the tolling of a bell. It was Drakkar, the eldest, his scales the shade of twilight, eyes like molten copper. Ilara stepped forward, her heart pounding with each word. The Everchant Relic has awakened, and with it, the Dominion's dark ambitions. We seek your aid to bring balance to Etheria and stand against the coming storm. The dragons conferred among themselves, a silent council of titans. The air thickened with magic, the weight of their deliberation pressing upon the cavern like a tangible force. Finally, Drakkar inclined his massive head. "Very well, Ilara Aranwin. We grant you our blessing. But know this, the bond we forge today is one of blood and fire. You shall bear the mark of the drake, a covenant unbreakable." With a gesture he unleashed a plume of azure flame that engulfed Ilara. It was not pain she felt, but a surge of energy, ancient and wild, coursing through her veins. The mark of the drake blazed upon her skin, a sigil of intertwining scales etched into her forearm. "You carry the sky within you now," Drakkar declared, his voice both a benediction and a warning. "Wield it wisely." Gareth, too, received the mark, his blade igniting with a new light, the runes upon it flaring with the power of the dragons. Their bond was complete, forged in the crucible of destiny. As they departed the cavern, Thalor accompanied them, his presence a welcome reassurance. "The path is fraught with peril, but you are not alone," he said, his eyes reflecting the firelight. "The wind and the sky shall guide you." Their journey continued with renewed purpose, the power of the dragons fueling their steps. Yet shadows gathered in their wake, for Nerissa's machinations were far from idle. She moved like a specter across the land, sowing discord and fear, her agents a web of spies and assassins. As they descended from Wyvern's Reach, the landscape shifted once more. The air was thick with the promise of rain, the horizon obscured by storm clouds brewing like a cauldron set to boil. In the distance, the land of Darenth stretched before them, a realm of verdant plains and hidden danger, where the Dominion's reach extended in dark tendrils. It was here that the next chapter of their journey awaited, a chapter of conflict and revelation, where the truth would be laid bare under the storm's relentless gaze. The stakes had never been higher, the path never more uncertain. Yet with each step, they moved closer to the heart of the storm, where destiny awaited and legends were born anew. Part 4. The Stormwatch of Darenth. The vast plains of Darenth spread before Elara and Gareth like a green sea, undulating under the caress of a restless wind. The sun hung low, a molten eye casting long shadows across the grasslands, where the whispers of 1,000 untold stories played upon the breeze. Their path led them to the heart of this land, towards Stormwatch Keep, a bastion against the encroaching darkness of the Dominion. It was a place of legend, where the brave rallied to turn back the tide of tyranny. The keep's silhouette rose against the horizon, its towers touching the sky, alive with the banners of resistance that fluttered like the wings of great birds. As they approached, the sounds of activity reached their ears. Blacksmiths hammering steel into shape, the rallying cries of captains, and the lively chatter of soldiers preparing for the battles yet to come. It was a symphony of defiance, a testament to the indomitable spirit that surged through those gathered within the keep's walls. At the gates, they were met by a familiar face. Brenna Stormborn, commander of Stormwatch and an old ally of Gareth, greeted them with a fierce embrace and a smile that rivaled the sun. "Gareth, you wolf of the north, and Elara, the beacon of the relic," Brenna exclaimed, her eyes bright with the fire of camaraderie. "You've brought the winds of change with you." Gareth grinned, the weight of their journey momentarily lifting. "We've brought more than that," he replied, gesturing to the mark of the drake that adorned his arm. "The dragons have pledged their power." Brenna's gaze flicked to Elara, assessing the weight she bore. "The relic's awakening is both boon and bane, and the storm it heralds is upon us," she said, her tone shifting to one of urgency. They gathered in the Great Hall, a place steeped in the history of campaigns won and lost, where maps sprawled across tables and the air was thick with strategy. Brenna introduced them to her council, warriors and mages, tacticians and spies, each bearing the scars of battles fought for the freedom of Etheria. Elara spoke of the Dominion's dark ambitions, her voice calm and steady despite the turmoil within. "Nerissa moves against us even now, her shadow stretching across the land," she warned. "We must stand united to withstand the coming storm." The council listened, their expressions grave yet resolute. Among them was Torin, a master tactician with eyes that missed nothing, and Seraphine, a mage whose command of the elements was whispered to rival the legends of old. Each pledged their power to the cause, forming a coalition of strength and will. As night fell, the keep's defenses were bolstered, and plans were set in motion. The air crackled with anticipation and magic. The feeling of a world poised on the brink of transformation. It was in the deep hours of the night, when the moon hung like a sentinel in the sky, that Elara found herself drawn to the keep's ramparts. The plains stretched out beneath her, silent and vast, as she contemplated the path they had taken and the battles yet to come. Troubled thoughts? Gareth's voice was a steady presence beside her, offering comfort in the quiet moments. "I feel the weight of worlds upon me," Elara confessed, her gaze distant. "The relic's power is both a blessing and a curse. I fear what will happen if it falls into the wrong hands." Gareth nodded, his expression thoughtful. "The dragons chose you for a reason, Elara. They saw something in you, something greater than any relic or power. Trust in that." Before she could respond, a flash of movement caught their attention. From the shadows, a lithe figure emerged, moving with the silent grace of a predator. It was Tyrion, an enigmatic rogue, known for his skills in subterfuge, and his allegiance to no master but his own. "Apologies for the intrusion," Tyrion said, his voice smooth as velvet, yet edged with irony. I have news that cannot wait. He revealed a map, freshly inked and worn from travel, detailing the movements of the Dominion's forces. Nerissa is massing her troops near the Whispering Woods. Their numbers are greater than we anticipated. The revelation tightened the knot of tension within Alara. We must move swiftly, she urged. If they breach the woods, Stormwatch will not stand long. The night gave way to a flurry of activity as plans shifted. Decisions made with the urgency of those who knew the hour was late. Riders were dispatched, rallying allies and calling upon the ancient pacts forged in times of peace and war. As dawn broke over Darenth, the plains awoke with the sound of marching feet and the clang of armor. The defenders of Stormwatch preparing to meet the Dominion's vanguard. It was a scene of courage and fear, determination and doubt, where the fate of Etheria would be decided in the clash of blade and spell. Ilara, Gareth, and their newfound allies led the charge, their hearts united by the fire of hope and the promise of freedom. The sky above roared with the sound of dragons, their wings casting shadows over the land, a testament to the strength they carried within them. The battle was joined, and the plains of Darenth became a theater of war, where the threads of destiny wove together in a tapestry of fire and blood. Nerissa's forces struck with ferocity, their leader's dark magic warping the very ground beneath their feet. Gareth fought with the fury of a storm, his blade a beacon amidst the chaos, while Alara wielded the relic's power with a precision born of necessity. Magic clashed with steel, and the air sang with the cries of warriors and the roar of dragons. In the thick of battle, Ilara faced Nerissa, their powers colliding in a maelstrom of light and shadow. The Black Seeress, her eyes alight with malevolent glee, taunted her with visions of despair and dominion. You think you can stand against the tide? Nerissa hissed, her voice a serpent's caress. The relic's power will be mine, and with it, the world. Ilara's response was a burst of radiant energy, the relic's light carving through the darkness with unyielding grace. Etheria is not yours to claim, she declared, her voice a clarion call against the storm. The battle raged, its outcome uncertain, yet within the heart of the tempest, Ilara found a clarity that burned brighter than any fear. The relic's power was not merely a weapon, but a beacon, a promise that the future could be forged anew. As the sun set, the echoes of conflict faded into the night, leaving the fields of Darenth scarred and silent. Yet amid the ruin, a flicker of hope remained, a testament to the courage of those who had stood against the darkness. For Alara and Gareth, their quest was far from over. The path ahead was still shrouded in mystery, the shadows of the past entwined with the promise of tomorrow. Yet with each step, they moved closer to the heart of their destiny, where the final act awaited, and the fate of Etheria would be decided in the light of the rising sun. Part 5. The Heart of the Storm. Beneath the vaulted heavens, where the constellations spun their eternal dance, Ilara and Gareth stood at the threshold of destinies entwined. Stormwatch Keep, though battered, held firm against the Dominion's assault, a beacon of defiance against the encroaching night. Yet the tree battle lay ahead, in the uncharted heart of Etheria, where the forces of light and darkness would meet in a final crucible. With the dawn came new horizons and the weight of decisions yet unmade. Brenna, her armor scarred but her spirit unbroken, convened with the remaining leaders of the resistance. The air was thick with resolve as they gathered within the great hall, the flickering torchlight casting long shadows upon maps traced with the scars of conflict. Our victory at Darenth has bought us time. Brenna began, her voice steady and clear. But Nerissa's reach is long, and the Dominion's hunger insatiable. We must strike at the heart of their power. Gareth nodded, his eyes shadowed with the memories of battle. The Black Seeress won't rest until the relic is hers. We must take the fight to her, sever her grasp on Etheria once and for all. Elara, the relic's light a constant warmth against her skin, spoke with a clarity born of purpose. There is a place where all paths converge, a nexus of power older than the mountains themselves. The citadel of Eldariath holds the key to ending this war. The name sent a ripple through those gathered. For the citadel was a place of legend, shrouded in mystery, and guarded by the remnants of the ancient world. It was said to lie at the center of Etheria, a fortress of forgotten magic, where the fabric of reality was thin, and the echoes of creation lingered in the stone. The journey will be perilous, Torin the tactician cautioned, his gaze lingering on the map. The citadel is surrounded by the wastes of Zahar, a labyrinth of desolation where even the bravest have lost their way. Undeterred, Elara and Gareth pledged their resolve, as did Brenna and a cadre of chosen warriors. Among them were Seraphine, her elemental spells a promise of protection, and Tyrion, whose skills in shadow could turn the tide of any encounter. The assembled company set forth, their path illuminated by the light of a new day, their hopes riding on the wings of dragons that soared above them, vigilant and free. As they journeyed deeper into the heart of Etheria, the land transformed, its beauty a stark contrast to the barren expanse that awaited them. The wastes of Zahar stretched out beneath leaden skies, a desolation of scorched earth and twisted rock, where the sun's warmth was but a distant memory. Yet even here, amid the ashes of forgotten time, life clung stubbornly to existence, gnarled trees and hardy shrubs defying the odds, much like the company that traversed the wasteland. The journey tested them, the harsh environment a relentless adversary. Sandstorms raged without warning, their fury blinding and unrelenting, while the ground itself shifted like a living creature, concealing pitfalls and ancient ruins alike. Within one such ruin, they discovered a library of stone and shadow, its shelves lined with the knowledge of civilizations long past. Elara, drawn by curiosity and the relic's subtle guidance, unearthed scrolls that whispered of the citadel's origins and the cataclysm that had sealed its power. The citadel is not merely a fortress, she revealed to the others, her voice echoing through the silent halls. It is a conduit, a place where the world's ley lines converge, bound by the magic of the ancients to protect the balance. Gareth's expression was one of wonder and concern. And if Nerissa gains control of it? Elara's gaze was steady, her resolve unyielding. Then all of Etheria will fall beneath her dominion, and the light of our world will be snuffed out. Emboldened by this knowledge, the company pressed on, guided by the whispers of the past and the relic's unwavering light. Yet even as they neared their destination, the shadows of doubt and danger loomed ever larger. In the twilight of a long day, as they set camp amid the ruins of a once great city, they were beset by a foe as unexpected as it was relentless. Out of the dark came creatures of ash and flame, their forms shifting and insubstantial, born of the wastes themselves, and driven by a hunger as old as the earth. The battle that ensued was fierce and chaotic, the air alive with the crackle of magic and the clash of steel. Seraphine summoned torrents of water to quench the flames, while Gareth and Brenna wove through the fray, their blades a blur of light and fury. Elara, the relic a sunburst against the night, called upon its power to unravel the creature's essence, dispersing them back into the ether. Yet even as they triumphed, the cost of their journey became increasingly clear, the weight of their task a constant companion. As they resumed their trek, the landscape shifted once more, rising into the foothills of the Eldereth Mountains. The air grew crisp, the scent of pine mingling with the promise of snow, and the path narrowed as the mountains closed in around them. At last, they reached the citadel of Eldereth, its ancient spires shrouded in mist, the stones worn by time, but unyielding. Here, beneath the watchful gaze of the mountains, they would face the final confrontation, where the fate of Etheria hung in the balance, poised on the edge of a knife. For within the heart of the storm lay the answers they sought, the power to end the Dominion's tyranny and restore the light to their world. It was here, amid the echoes of creation, that Elara and her companions would confront the darkness, their courage, the flame that would light their way through the coming night. Part 6. The Reckoning of Eldereth. The citadel of Eldereth rose from the mist like a dream half-remembered, its towers and turrets stretching skyward, silhouetted against the canvas of dawn. Here in the heart of the Eldereth Mountains, the air was charged with anticipation, a palpable energy that thrummed through the stone and resonated in the marrow of the earth. Elara and her companions stood at the threshold of this ancient bastion, their resolve tested yet unbroken. The path that had brought them here was marked by trials and revelations, each step forging bonds of loyalty and purpose. Now the final confrontation loomed, the promise of victory shadowed by the specter of despair. Within the citadel, the air was thick with the weight of ages, the corridors echoing with the whispers of those who had walked its halls long ago. Ghostly flames flickered in sconces along the walls, casting an ethereal glow that danced across the intricately carved stone. The citadel itself seemed alive, aware of their presence and the burden they carried. The company moved with caution, their senses attuned to the slightest hint of danger. They knew not what awaited them within these walls, only that the Black Cirrus was somewhere close, her dark magic a constant shadow on the edge of perception. In a grand hall at the heart of the citadel, they found the nexus of power, a place where the world's ley lines converged, bathing the room in a kaleidoscope of ethereal light. It was a place of ancient power, where the very fabric of reality seemed to shimmer and pulse in time with the heartbeats of those who stood within it. Yet even as they marveled at its beauty, a figure emerged from the shadows, her presence as cold and commanding as the void between the stars. Nerissa, the Black Cirrus, her dark robes flowing like liquid night, regarded them with a smile that chilled the soul. "You've come far, Elara Erenwyn," Nerissa purred, her voice a silken thread woven with malice. "And yet you stand on the precipice of ruin, your dreams of victory naught but smoke." Elara met her gaze, the relic upon her arm glowing with a light that defied the darkness. "The relic's power is not yours to wield, Nerissa. The balance must be restored." Nerissa laughed, a sound like glass shattering. "Balance? There is no balance, only power, and those strong enough to seize it. The citadel shall be mine, and with it, the world." The room trembled as Nerissa unleashed her magic, tendrils of shadow lashing out like serpents hungry for the kill. The air crackled with energy, and the ground shuddered beneath their feet. Gareth and the others sprang into action, their weapons gleaming with dragonfire and determination. Seraphine summoned a storm of ice and lightning, her spells weaving a tapestry of elemental fury, while Brenna rallied their defenses, her voice a clarion call amidst the chaos. Ilara faced Nerissa, their powers colliding in a tempest of light and shadow. The relic's energy coursed through her veins, a river of fire and clarity that guided her hand and stilled her mind. She drew upon its strength, channeling the force of the ley lines and the wisdom of ages past. A battle raged, each moment a crescendo of sound and fury, where the fate of Etheria hung in the balance. Nerissa's magic was a maelstrom, relentless and consuming, yet within the storm, Ilara saw the threads of darkness unraveling, the cracks in her foe's resolve. It was in that moment of clarity, as the world seemed to pause around them, that Ilara understood the truth. The citadel was a conduit not only of power, but of memory, a repository of the world's past, present, and future. It was a place of creation, where the essence of life itself was woven into the tapestry of existence. Drawing upon this understanding, Ilara reached out with her mind, connecting with the spirit of the citadel, the echoes of those who had come before her. She saw their triumphs and failures, their hopes and fears, all bound together in a web of light. With a surge of will, she channeled this energy through the relic, shaping it into a beacon of hope that banished the shadows and illuminated the truth. Nerissa, caught within the radiance, faltered, the darkness that clung to her, dissipating like mist in the morning sun. "No!" Nerissa cried, her voice a wail of desperation, as the power she sought slipped from her grasp. The citadel's magic turned upon her, recognizing the corruption within, and in that instant, the balance was restored. The room fell silent, the echoes of the battle fading into the ether, leaving behind only the soft hum of the ley lines and the gentle glow of the relic. Nerissa lay defeated, her ambition undone, her form a shadow of its former self. Ilara, breathless and triumphant, lowered her hand, the relic's light settling into a steady, comforting glow. She turned to her companions, their faces weary yet exultant, the bonds forged in battle unbreakable. "The citadel is saved," Gareth said, his voice filled with awe and relief. "You've done it, Ilara. You've saved us all." She nodded, the weight of the world lifting from her shoulders, her heart alight with the promise of renewal. "We've done it together," she replied, her gaze sweeping across those who had stood with her. Their courage and sacrifice, a testament to the strength of unity. As they stepped out into the light of a new day, the sun rising over the mountains in a blaze of gold and crimson, the future stretched before them, a blank canvas waiting to be filled with the colors of hope and dreams. Etheria, reborn from the ashes of its past, stood poised on the threshold of a new era, its destiny yet unwritten, its possibilities infinite. For Ilara, Gareth, and their companions, the journey was over, yet the story of Etheria continued, a tale of courage and redemption, where the light of the Everchant Relic shone brightly, a beacon to guide those who sought its wisdom and truth. The End. Part 7. The Dawn of New Horizons. In the wake of their victory at the Citadel of Eldereth, the world of Etheria stirred with the whispers of rebirth. The ley lines, now vibrant and alive, pulsed beneath the land, carrying with them the promise of renewal and the echoes of ancient magic unshackled. As Ilara emerged from the citadel's embrace, The world welcomed her with open skies and the sweet song of the wind, a symphony of life awakening from a long slumber. Yet, even in triumph, the journey was far from over. Elara, Gareth, and their companions knew that the Dominion, though crippled by Nerissa's fall, was not yet vanquished. The remnants of its power lingered across the Theria, tendrils of shadow entwined with the land's soul, awaiting a chance to reclaim their former strength. The mountains of Eldereth gave way to the broad expanse of the luminal plains, where the grass swayed like an emerald ocean beneath the light of the rising sun. It was here, amid the breath of the living earth, that Elara first sensed a change in the wind, a shift in the magic that flowed through their world. Their path led them toward the city of Arendor, the heart of the Free City's resistance, where the council awaited news of the Citadel's liberation. The journey was blessedly uneventful, the land itself seeming to celebrate their passage with the vibrant colors of wildflowers and the joyous calls of distant birds. As they neared Arendor, its towers gleaming like ivory spires against the sky, they were met by a procession of riders, their armor gleaming with the heraldry of the free cities. At their head rode a regal figure, her countenance fierce and noble, a banner of azure trailing in the wind. "Welcome, champions of Eldereth," the woman called, her voice clear and resonant as a bell. She was Lady Lyanna, the Lady of Arendor, renowned for her wisdom and her unwavering courage. Her presence was a balm, her leadership a guiding star for those who sought the light of freedom. In the great hall of Arendor, beneath the vaulted ceilings and the stained glass windows that painted the stone in hues of ruby and sapphire, the council convened. Elara recounted their journey, the trials faced and overcome, the relic's power unveiled and wielded with grace. Her words were received with awe and gratitude, for in her tale lay the seeds of hope and the promise of a world reborn. Yet within these hallowed walls, new challenges awaited. The Dominion's shadow had retreated, but its heart still beat in the dark corners of the world. A beast, wounded yet unbroken. Rumors spoke of a new leader rising from its ashes, a force of cunning and ambition, known only as the Veilcaster, whose identity and intentions remained shrouded in mystery. "We cannot rest," Lady Lyanna declared, her eyes bright and unyielding. "The Veilcaster's forces grow stronger, and whispers of dark alliances reach our ears. We must strike before they gather their strength and plunge us into another age of despair." Among the council was a newcomer, a man with eyes like storm clouds and a presence as enigmatic as the sea. He was Kaelin, a wanderer and scholar, known for his knowledge of the arcane and the forgotten pacts of old. His voice, when he spoke, was like the murmur of distant thunder. "I have traveled far and seen much," Kaelin said, unfurling a map unlike any other, its surface shifting with the ebb and flow of magic. "The Veilcaster seeks the Well of Shadows, a place where the boundaries between worlds are thin, where the Dominion could summon allies from beyond our understanding." The name sent a shiver through those gathered, for the Well of Shadows was a place of legend and fear. It was said to lie hidden within the Obsidian Veil, a realm of perpetual twilight where the sun's light never reached, guarded by the remnants of an ancient order long thought extinct. Elara felt the weight of destiny settle upon her once more, the call to action undeniable. "We must go to the Well of Shadows," she vowed, her voice a clarion call against the uncertainty of the future. "If the Veilcaster seeks to unleash darkness upon our world, we must be there to stop them." Her companions rallied around her, their resolve mirrored in their eyes. Gareth, steadfast and true, Seraphine, her heart a conduit of elemental fury, and Tyrion, ever the shadow at the edge of light. Each pledged their strength to the cause. Together, they set forth once more, the path ahead, fraught with peril and promise. The journey to the Obsidian Vale would test them as never before, where the veil between worlds grew thin, and the whispers of the past echoed with the cries of the future. The dawn of new horizons stretched before them, a tapestry of challenges and discoveries yet to unfold. In the heart of the storm, they would find their greatest test and their greatest triumph, where the light of hope would shine ever brighter against the encroaching dark. Part 8. The Obsidian Vale. The journey to the Obsidian Vale was a passage into mystery, a trek across landscapes where reality wavered like heat over a summer road. As Alara and her companions traveled, the world seemed to hold its breath, the air charged with an expectancy that set their hearts racing. The dragons that had once soared above now flew in the distance, silent guardians watching from the skies. The forests of Etheria gave way to a landscape both eerie and mesmerizing, where the trees stood twisted against a sky of perpetual twilight. Shadows played upon the ground, flickering shapes that whispered haunting tales of the past. The Vale itself was a place of ancient power, its very essence woven into the fabric of the world, a boundary between the seen and the unseen. Kaelin led the way, his knowledge of the arcane paths guiding them through the winding trails and hidden shortcuts known only to those who wandered between worlds. His map, ever shifting, glimmered with ethereal light as it responded to the magic of the Vale. The Well of Shadows lies deep within, guarded by more than just physical barriers, Kaelin warned, his voice barely more than a murmur against the sighing wind. The Veilcaster will surely have placed traps and illusions to thwart any who dare to approach. Gareth, his hand resting lightly on the hilt of his sword, nodded. We'll face whatever stands in our way, together. The company moved with caution, their senses alert, the relic aglow beneath Alara's touch, its light a constant reminder of the power they wielded and the responsibilities they shouldered. As they ventured deeper, the landscape shifted around them, an ever-changing tapestry of light and dark, where time seemed to bend upon itself. They passed through groves of spectral trees, and across bridges of blackened stone, where the air hummed with a resonance that thrummed in their bones. It was within one such grove that they encountered a presence unlike any other. A figure emerged from the shadows, her form cloaked in the deep green of the forest, her eyes glinting with the wisdom of ages. I am Melisande, keeper of the Vale, she greeted, her voice a melody woven with the threads of the earth and sky. You tread upon sacred ground, where the past and future flow as one. Ilara stepped forward, her spirit attuned to the energy that surrounded them. We seek the Well of Shadows, to prevent the Veilcaster from unleashing darkness upon the world. Melisande regarded her with an inscrutable gaze, her presence both comforting and formidable. The Well is a place of creation and destruction, where the boundaries of reality are thin as gossamer. But be warned, not all who enter emerge unchanged. Her words were a test, a challenge that resonated in the hearts of those who listened. With a nod, Ilara accepted the guidance offered, her determination unflagging, the light of the relic a beacon in the gathering gloam. Melisande led them through the labyrinthine paths of the Vale, past waterfalls that sang ancient lullabies and meadows where the air was alive with the glow of fireflies. The company moved with reverence, aware of the spirits that watched from the shadows, their eyes reflecting the light of the moon like distant stars. At last, they reached the Well of Shadows, a vast chasm that yawned beneath a sky swirling with stars and storm. The well pulsed with power, the air above it shimmering like a mirage, alive with the possibilities of worlds beyond imagining. It was here that the Veilcaster awaited them, a figure of menace and majesty, cloaked in robes that shifted like shadows in the wind. Her presence was a void that drew the light and warmth from the air, her intentions as impenetrable as the night. "You have come far, but this is where your journey ends," the Veilcaster declared, her voice a sonorous echo that reverberated through the veil. "The well shall be mine, and with it, the power to reshape existence itself." Ilara faced her, the relic's glow blazing in defiance against the encroaching dark. "Your vision is one of tyranny and despair. Etheria will not bow to your will." The confrontation was a clash of titanic forces, a battle fought not just with blade and spell, but with the very essence of their beings. The Well of Shadows responded to their struggle, its energies swirling in a tempest of creation and destruction. Kalen wove protective wards, his magic a shield against the Veilcaster's onslaught, while Seraphine summoned the fury of the elements, her spells a harmonious counterpoint to the chaos. Tyrion, ever the shadow, struck from the periphery, disrupting the Veilcaster's concentration with deft strikes. Gareth fought with the ferocity of a tempest, his blade a conduit of the dragon's might, while Ilara channeled the relic's power, her heart and mind united in a singular purpose: to protect and preserve the light of their world. The well's energies crescendoed, the air alive with the hum of possibilities, as Ilara reached out with her spirit, connecting with the well's heart. She felt its power, a river of potential that flowed through her, urging her to choose wisely. In that moment of clarity, she saw the paths that lay before them, an eternity of choices and consequences, the balance of light and dark. With a tremor of will, she summoned the relic's energy, shaping it into a force of creation that resonated with the well's core. The Veilcaster, caught within the maelstrom of light, faltered, her ambitions unraveling before the truth of the well's power. The shadows that clung to her dissipated, leaving her exposed and defeated, her dreams of domination undone. As silence fell, the Well of Shadows shimmered with a newfound brilliance, its energies calmed and harmonious, a testament to the courage and unity that had prevailed. The Veil, once a place of fear and mystery, was now a sanctuary of hope and light. Ilara, breathless and triumphant, lowered her hand, the relic's glow settling into a gentle radiance. She turned to her companions, their faces weary yet exalted, the bonds forged in battle unbreakable. The journey had ended, yet the echoes of their triumph would resonate through Etheria, a tale of valor and redemption, where the light of the well and the Everchant Relic shone brightly, guiding those who sought its wisdom and truth. Part 9. The Resurgence of Etheria. The victory at the Well of Shadows heralded a new dawn for Etheria, where the light of hope rekindled the spirits of those who had long languished in the shadow of despair. The lands, once caught in the grip of darkness, began to heal, the magic of the world revitalizing forests and fields, rivers and skies. The sun rose with renewed brilliance, casting its golden light upon a world reborn. Ilara and her companions emerged from the veil, their hearts alight with the promise of a brighter future. The journey had taken them through the depths of peril and the heights of triumph, and now the land itself seemed to rejoice in their return, the air sweet with the scent of blooming flowers and the songs of birds newly returned to the skies. In Arendor, the free cities gathered in celebration, their banners flying high against the azure sky. The city had become a beacon of unity and resilience, where the people, once divided, stood together as one, their differences forgotten in the face of a common purpose. The streets thrummed with life, alive with the laughter of children and the music of minstrels, the air vibrant with the joy of freedom hard-won. In the heart of the city, the great square was transformed into a tapestry of color and sound, where stalls brimmed with wares from across the land, and the scent of spices mingled with the crisp sea breeze. Lady Liana, her presence a tower of strength and grace, presided over the festivities, her voice a clarion call that carried above the clamor. Today we stand as one, not as free cities, but as a unified Etheria. Let this be a reminder that together we can overcome any darkness. Amidst the revelry, Ilara felt a tug at her heart, a reminder that her task was not yet complete. The relic, its glow a constant companion, whispered of further duties, of a future that required vigilance and stewardship. In the quiet of the evening, beneath the starlit canopy of the night sky, she found herself drawn to a secluded grove on the outskirts of Arendor. There, amid the gentle rustle of leaves and the chorus of crickets, she contemplated the path that lay ahead. Gareth joined her, his presence a steady anchor amidst the sea of change. "You've given so much, Ilara," he said softly, his gaze thoughtful and warm. "Do you ever wonder what comes next?" Her smile was wistful, filled with the wisdom of one who had walked the edge of destiny. The relic's power is a gift and a responsibility. We've seen what can happen when it is used for ill. It's up to us to ensure that it guides us towards light. In the days that followed, Ilara and her companions worked tirelessly to ensure the peace they had fought for. They traveled across Etheria, forging new alliances and mending old wounds, their presence a symbol of hope and determination. Tyrion, ever the rogue with a heart of gold, took on the mantle of protector for those who lived in the shadows, while Seraphine lent her magic to restoring the natural balance, her touch a balm for the scarred land. Kaelin, whose knowledge had been pivotal in their victory, became a scholar of legend, his tomes and teachings spreading across the world, their pages filled with the stories of their journey and the lessons hard learned. As the seasons turned, the land flourished under the care of its people, its magic a constant song of life and renewal. The dragons, their presence a reminder of the ancient pacts forged in the fires of creation, returned to the skies, their shadows a symbol of protection and strength. Yet even as the world blossomed, new challenges emerged. The Veilcaster's remnants, though scattered, still sought to regain their former power, their schemes a lingering threat that required vigilance and unity. Ilara, the Everchant Relic a constant source of guidance, worked alongside leaders and scholars to establish a council dedicated to preserving peace and balance. With Gareth at her side, she led this new age with wisdom and grace, her heart forever bound to the land she loved. In the years that followed, Etheria flourished as never before, its people united in purpose and spirit. The tales of Ilara and her companions became legend, their names etched into the annals of time, a testament to the strength of courage and the power of light. For Ilara, the journey was ever ongoing, the world a tapestry of dreams and possibilities. Yet she moved forward with the knowledge that the bonds forged in darkness would forever light the way. Thus the cycle continued, the saga of Etheria, woven into the fabric of the world, a story of hope and redemption, where the light of the Everchant Relic shone brightly, guiding all who sought its wisdom through the storm and into the dawn of new horizons. The end.